What's going on around Pennsauken and what's going on around Merchantville. We were trying to decide who was going to speak first, and the way we came up with it, empty comes before P, and Merchantville was here before Pennsauken. Actually, Betsy said Peg could go first. So I'd like to bring up Ted Brenner, the mayor of Merchantville. Let's give him a big round of applause.
I was taught from a very early age to project my voice,
Come from a big
to
family,
compete in that family of mine.
Yeah.
So, I will speak up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I want to thank Tim, Nancy, the PMAC board for inviting me here today. I remember being here, I think it was at the first PMAC event a couple years ago. You invited me to speak then, and it was an honor to be there then. It's an honor to be here now. Because this group is very important to the community at large. It's not just Merchantville or Pennsauken, it's Cinnaminson, it's Cherry Hill, it's Maple Shade, it's all of our neighbors, because the community is larger than just Merchantville or Pennsauken. Something that you find out, unfortunately, when you take office. Betsy and John know with probably a lot of heartache and anguish. Although some of you may not believe this, we do come in with a vision to this office. And we do have an idea about how we can make our community successful, our local community and the larger community. And it may be a little bit like a Disney movie with birds chirping everywhere and everybody happy and businesses successful and industry everywhere. But unfortunately, it takes a lot of hard work, and not just from us, but more importantly from all of you. And so what I want to talk about today is how important it is for you to be involved. And obviously, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir a little bit because you are all here and you're involved with PMAC, which is very important. But on a more local level, it's important for you all to be involved because a lot of you are small businesses. And as a small business, you have put every ounce of your energy, every dollar, every minute of your time into your business. And so it's important for you to be successful. And a lot of times when we come calling as a government and say, hey, we'd really like for you to be involved in this. And it's difficult for you to see what the return is going to be. Because we can't promise you that you're going to have 50 more people walk into your store or 50 more people decide to use your insurance services. But what we do know is that tried and true, if you're involved in the community and you get to know the people in that community, then you stand a better chance through word of mouth and providing service to those people in that community for your business to expand. Not only locally, but outside of, again, the walls of the community. One of the things that I've found to be most difficult, just locally in Merchantville, is to get people involved. Not necessarily businesses. I mean, Janet and Pete and Matt, who are constantly at events, and they're on every committee that I think I've ever had as a mayor. And I thank them for that. But really, to get involved, a lot of businesses say, I don't have the time. I can't give the effort. I'm already giving everything I can. But I have to stress to you the importance of you being at those events and helping to frame those events. I don't own a small business. My father owned a small business, but I didn't run it, and I don't know truly what it takes. I work for a company with 300 employees, and I'm not even in private practice as an attorney anymore, so I don't understand the day-to-day. All right, I get a paycheck from somebody else. I don't have to eat what I kill, essentially. All right, that's not how it works for me anymore. So it's difficult for me to understand what you're going through. And it's difficult for the community to understand what you're going through. Sometimes if they see that you're not involved, they think, oh, well, they're really just putting a shingle up. They don't care. Maybe it's a tax shelter. Maybe it's whatever. But the reality is if you get into the community and you express to people how important it is for you to be involved, and you express your opinion about the way that events should occur, how they should occur, the impacts it has on your businesses if you're a retail operation. We used to have a very successful car show in town. People loved it, but our businesses didn't really love it. And I think that you have to find that fine balance. And if you don't step to the table and get involved, I don't know that. And the people that are charged with implementing that vision and moving your town forward, they don't understand that. And so I think it's critical that you remain involved, you get further involved if you can, and give a little bit more time and effort to support the interests and the vision that Pennsauken, and Merchantville, and Cherry Hill, and all these other communities have. because they may have a vision, but I can honestly tell you, I learned also, at the same time that I learned how to project my voice, that I'm not the smartest person in the room. I never am. I was taught that at a very young age. So I've learned, and I've tried to make it sort of a hallmark of my administration, if you will, to listen to people. Listen to residents, listen to businesses. I try to have a realtors forum on a yearly basis to understand trends. Because again, I know I'm not the smartest person in the room. I want you to help me to make the borough a success. If you help me make the borough or the township or the larger community a success, you're going to be a success. People are going to walk into your store. They're going to want to know, hey, what's going on in that town? What can I do there? And I think that's important. I don't want to preach to you about how your business development efforts, but I do want to ask you and sort of advise you that I believe that your involvement helps and is critical to the future community and the vision that we're all putting together. And I thank you for being involved here. I don't have much else to say, and I'll cede the floor to...
Why don't you tell everybody a couple new businesses that came in Merchville they may not know about?
Absolutely. Well, we have the brewery, which has gotten a lot of press recently. Eclipse Brewery, which is a guy who started home brewing about 27 years ago, and it was a passion of his. And we were going to tear down the old EMT building. We have such a great relationship with EMT services through Pennsauken that we don't need the building anymore. It was slated for demolition, and this guy came walking through and said, hey, I'd like to put a brewery in town. And we walked him through the bank building. It was too large. And it was like Goldilocks. You know, it's too large. You wanted to look at the Nutty Irishman, the old green building. It was too old and destroyed, and then we picked the EMT building. He's been very successful. I'd love for him to get involved with this group. But what he's done internally in town is he's done a nice job of marketing himself. He's trying to get involved in community events, and he has now established a relationship with another business in town, the new Park Place Cafe. They now have Park Place Cafe, which is a new restaurant in town. It's higher end. I tell you should go. It's very good. I've been there for dinner twice. I know it's right on Park Avenue. It's where in
Behind me.
yeah, it's right behind. I'm getting there.
All right.
Jeez, Nancy, you have to deal with this every day. I'm kidding. I love Tim. But they have an agreement now where Park Place has a special takeout menu just for that brewery. And if anybody is here from the ABC, I didn't just say that. All right. So it's a wonderful restaurant anyway. Park Place is great. They've done a nice job. They've been packed. We have the Juice Bar, which opened in downtown Merchantville, which specializes in healthy juices and salads, and there's fresh produce in there. And then we have a fitness studio that opened up around the corner in the old karate studio. And the fitness studio and the juice bar are working collaboratively now to offer services and discounts between each other. That was natural. That was organic, those groups getting together because their business interests align. But they've also been very receptive to discussions with me about getting involved. And in March, I think we're going to try through the Business and Professional Association to have the healthy month of March. And I know that there are a number of borough businesses that are working on that. So it's those types of efforts that I think help to certainly get PR out about your individual businesses, but also supports and gets people from the community to come and say, yes, you know, these are good businesses. Janet says, yes, it's a great restaurant. And some of you may not even know that it exists. But I can tell you, there's 32 seats, and it's great. And I drove through town, and some of you may know, some of you may not. Our major redevelopment area is that downtown triangle. We've been trying to redevelop it since I think I was in high school, and we failed twice. And we went through a deliberative process, and Janet and a number of other people were involved from the community stakeholders, and we have a vision. Again, it's not quite Disney, but it's close. I'd love to see it, something like that. But I drove the other night, and I got some ice cream for my kids, and I drove around that triangle. And it was incredible to see the vision coming to light to some extent, because there was energy in that triangle. You had Park Place Restaurant, which was packed with people in it. You had the brewery, which was packed with people in it. And when you come to the other side, the Blue Monkey, which is a well-established, very nice venue with great food, great drink, was packed with people. And to think that Merchantville could have that sort of a nightlife on a Friday night many years ago would be unheard of. But it's wonderful to see that come to fruition. It's the hard work of again, people in our community, not just business owners, but people in the community who want to see a vision come to life. So, Tim,
Great.
did I fulfill my obligation?
We are excited to bring up Betsy, and I'll tell you why. Betsy has been a proponent of a lot of great things in town. You know her from the community garden. She actually is helping revitalize the whole Delaware Gardens area. Just many, many different things that she's done in town, working together with the town, with economic development, with the administration. And Betsy was just put up in a nice way as our mayor to actually oversee all the greatness of this wonderful year, the 125th anniversary of Pennsauken Township. So if you help me welcome up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Ted, for your comments. We couldn't be Pennsauken and Merchantville area Chamber of Commerce without, Pennsauken and Merchantville working together. And we want to expand on that, and we want to grow our communities together and the reach in Cherry Hill, Maple Shade, Cinnamons, and all of the benefits in those communities will benefit all of us. I want to give special thanks to your acting chair, Tim Ellis. He has been the spearheader of so much business activity in this town, and we can't say thank you enough to somebody who gives his all to strengthen the business community and have the business community work hand in hand with the township. So thank you very much, Tim. Also, my hat goes off to the steering committee of PMAC. He needs a team. He has a good team. His wife, Janet, our Terry and Larry, and I think Frank Sinatra, a couple others maybe. But they help plan these meetings, work on events, support your chamber, and support the township. It's necessary to have a team. You can't do it by yourself. So Tim definitely has a good team behind him. And I'm very excited about the idea of the trainings for the businesses to strengthen your core of your business as you grow and get more involved and engaged in civic duty in the town. I'm proud to share this time with Ted, because all of us working together makes great things happen. Again, it's many hands make light work. If we don't do things together and know what others are doing, we're working in a silo. And silos aren't good. They're just this individual little guy standing out here, and you find out, you might plan an event, you might find out that same weekend, Merchantville has an event. And so we need to know when the events are, we need to know when we want to do things in collaboration and make it even stronger and more beneficial to the region. I'm happy to, that this chamber has grown so much, and we want to make this community more user-friendly every day. We need you to tell us what, as an administration, what we can do to support you. If there are things roadblocks that you encounter with our administration, you can come and talk to me. I'm available every Wednesday. My administrator is doing a great job of working with our code enforcement office so that we streamline some things to make it easier for residents and businesses to get through the process, which can be cumbersome, but is there for the safety and improvement of our community. So many times you say, I don't know why he's making me do this. Well, let me just tell you about internal code enforcement, internal CO inspections. Some people say, well, why do they do that? Why do they have to come in the house? Well, one time they went to go inspect a house. Somebody had decided to build a bedroom in the basement with no exit. So the only way that this family, it was actually a little apartment, this family could get out of the house if the house was burning, is to run into the fire. So when they come into the house to do an inspection, it's going to be for safety reasons, so that the people who move in after you, or if hopefully you're not leaving, so that you're safe as a home buyer, and the people who are coming into a home you might be selling or a business you might be selling are safe as well. I come from a background of planning and service. So somebody asked me today, Gary asked me today, where did I grow up? I'm an Army brat, so I moved all my life, and then we came back to New Jersey when my husband decided to go to law school and graduate school and in public service. So I started to get involved in women's clubs because I wanted to get involved in the community. And my first event was the Merchantville Birthday Celebration Baby Parade. And once you have babies, people do come and talk to you. And you're like, oh, well, I've been here for 10 years. You didn't ever come and talk to me until I started going down the street with a stroller. But it is how you walking areas, walking into Merchantville, being out there, more and more of the young people who are going to move into our neighborhoods are going to want to walk. So we want to make, pedestrian-friendly areas in town as well. But as I said, I come from planning, and sometimes, we have to take a look at what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I'm a big proponent of an old Army saying, PPPPP. Does anybody know what that is if you were in the Army or had anybody in your family?
Poor planning prevents something.
His poor performance. Sorry, I should have left out that one P. But yeah, you really do, I believe, want to plan and execute a plan and not put it on the shelf. So in my other job, I'm working in the Delaware Gardens neighborhood, and the neighborhood is from 36 to Browning, River to 130. And first we put together the plan, and then it sat. And I was like, that's exactly what I don't want to have happen. So we went to Wells Fargo Regional Foundation's the funder that said, okay, you guys have a good plan. Why don't you go after the implementation funds? And we did. And so we've been involved with the township and stakeholders and residents to try to, improve our most challenged district in Pennsauken. We have more poverty there. We have more vacant properties there. We have worse condition of streets and lighting. And so, it's a slow process, some of these things. We're working on a trail, a rail-to-trail project. We are engaging people across all areas because I'm a firm believer that the best projects are a public-private nonprofit partnership. If everybody has a stake in the game, then they're going to make it happen. And they have a different perspective. Public brings a perspective of government and how to do it and follow the rules and to do it right and to pass the resolutions and the ordinances or whatever you need to do to get that part done. Your nonprofit has a vision, some funding sometimes, and some ideas behind what and some planning and some data that come with it. And then the private partnership is where you have businesses invest in the efforts of the project. So strategic planning, as you know, has, well, as I hope you know, has 4 components. Now I'm going to challenge you a little bit. It's called SWOT, S-W-O-T. So what's the S? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so you don't have to have a major plan to actually sit down and say, what do we have as our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? What would somebody say is one of the strengths of Merchantville and Pennsauken?
Location.
Location. Anything else? Diversity, walkability, downtowns.
Plenty of people.
Hmm?
Plenty of people.
Plenty of people.
Leadership.
Right. Leadership. What are some of our weaknesses?
Space.
Space. We're built out. Schools. Communication. That's great. We are dedicated in this year, 2017, to have a better communication with our school district, to put Frank Sinatra in their PR department so he can tell the stories of our great schools, and to work together to meet with the superintendent and make sure that we are on the same page and talking about our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within the school system. Because if we want to attract young families to Merchantville and Pennsauken, We need the strength of our core, education system. How about an opportunity? Lots of opportunities right now. Huge amount of opportunities. I'm very excited. Can I tell you I'm a sledgehammer throwing mayor? So I do want to commend our economic development team, Larry Carville and Terry Carr, because Beata worked so well with them that on February 1st I got to sling a sledgehammer. So we opened Beata's offices, or did the groundbreaking on February 1st, right there at the Fairview complex at Haddonfield Road and Maple Avenue. They're going to bring 400 employees in June to start. They're going to grow that office to 600. They have their offices are in 22 states and 4 countries. They said, we need a hotel. We need to know about shuttle. We chose Pennsauken for location. We chose Pennsauken because we wanted to come back to Pennsauken. We wanted to come back to New Jersey. We did not want to move to Philadelphia, even though their incentives were great. They worked with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and she showed up for this event. She did not sling a sledgehammer. And she went, oh, no. But she's a nice lady, and she worked well with them, and she got that done. And Larry and Terry were instrumental in that, as well as John Kaniva as mayor. That's a wonderful opportunity for us to capture this energy of a new, I can tell you, they were the kindest, most passionate, most down-to-earth people, the Beata family, and they grew up in Cinnaminson. They played PY's athletics, and they wanted to be back here. You know what they're most excited about?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Well, nurses, Dunkin' Donuts, they kind of go hand in hand, I guess. You all know that we've been working really hard, really long, for too long, to redevelop the MART site. And I would love it to actually, be able to be an event that we have, and you all come out and we get to break ground at the MART site. That first phase of development will do 260 units. It will be only 1 and 2 bedroom. So we really aren't going to have an impact on the schools, but we will attract young professionals for location. We will attract empty nesters for, it's going to be a beautiful complex with a pool. We talked them into a fireplace in their main community room. Delco developers are doing a great job in dotting all their I's and crossing their T's, and we're trying to put Rick Taylor in a tutu for that event. So, but look what that brings. That brings more people. That brings opportunities for development along Old Haddonfield Road, our Haddonfield Road corridor, all kinds of opportunities, because those people were going to leave that spot and we want them to shop locally, use local businesses, and we would certainly encourage them at every juncture with our economic development team. Very good. What would you say would be a threat to Pennsauken and Merchantville's growth?
Reputation.
Reputation.
No vision.
Vision. No vision.
Traffic.
Traffic.
Taxes.
Taxes.
Empty buildings.
Empty buildings. That brings me to my next talking point, and then bear with me, but I'm very proud. I would like to have Tracy stand up, please. Tracy Howard, I did not know would be here. She has taken on the job to fulfill the vision. There was some vision in this regard where we said, what's the #1 issue we're facing and that concerns our residents and businesses, and it's vacant properties. And it goes across the board. It's businesses and vacancies, commercial and small business. And we need to address that. We need to figure out how to get through all the muck that is abandoned and vacant properties. We were lucky at the same time that the state, the county, and other entities were deciding this is an issue in New Jersey. Tracy dug through all the regs, identified all the properties, Is a vacant property always abandoned? No. You have to determine if it's abandoned. You have to find the owner. Well, you know how mortgages go. This bank sold it to this bank, sold it to this bank, sold it to this bank, and you're finding out that the bank that owns that property is in Omaha. And then as soon as you find them, they sell it to somebody else. I mean, there's a lot of challenge there, and I'm really so excited about the work that she's doing. And also in our most challenged district, our area of Pennsauken, we had 120 vacant properties. 28 have sold in just December. Because we have said we're working on this initiative, they sold on their own. And then St. Joe's Carpenter Society is working with us and could potentially rehab 30 houses in that area. And she's got this great map on the wall with every single vacant property, which I have one in my office too for Delaware Gardens, but you know, you have to identify which are the ones that are most important to work on first. And the township is going to work with contractors. If you read her article in All Around Pennsauken, you can get more detail about that. Vacant properties bring blight. Even if the town isn't blighted, it looks blighted. And so we want to do everything we can to encourage businesses to come and fill these empty spaces, potentially, you know, kind of giving them some ideas of what could go there and why, and, you know, talking to the right people. We have poor appearance, we have trash, you know, we have challenges of people identifying Pennsauken anyway from our corridor. We have Merchantville. Where is Merchantville? Driving down 130, and you have to turn onto Maple Avenue at a high rate of speed at my favorite or least favorite building, the Kawasaki building. That's how you get into Merchantville from 130. But Merchantville's a beautiful downtown. We surround them, but you know, you've got to be able to know you're there. And I think that we don't want to lose businesses to other towns. We want businesses who are here to stay, and we want businesses who are interested in looking at a growth area to move in, to think about Pennsauken first. So we're going to really, you know, continue to work with our administration to address those concerns, but also to ask you, what do you think works? I have attended a couple, 3 seminars on revitalizing your downtown. We have Westfield Avenue. People think about our downtown or identify us with 130, but we have Westfield Avenue. And you know, there's a lot of, it's always changing, but in planning, there are a lot of people who tell you what are the best things that bring people back downtown. Walkability, evening activities, so Ted's talking evening activities, restaurants, and places to congregate. So restaurants, you want to get them. You also, specialty shops was the other one. Something that you can't get at the mall. So, you know, whatever, cheese shop. One town, I went to League of Municipalities, one town had an issue with wanting to bring a paint and sip, I think, or sip and paint, you know, where you have that canvas and you paint and everybody has a glass of wine, some snacks, and it was zoned okay, except, yeah, it was ABC again. They accept that an age-old ordinance said you can't have a place of churches, assembly, a place of assembly. So they classified this paint and sip place as a place of assembly. The guy left. So, you know, as we look at it as being a welcoming community for new business, we also need to know from you, what were some of your challenges in dealing with, you know, existing code? And you know, some things can change, some things can't because of safety, but things that are proactive and looking forward and getting our businesses engaged in Merchantville and Pennsauken are going to be fantastic for our future. We are set to celebrate 125 years of Pennsauken. We are excited to do so. I am honored to be mayor as this happens. I think that we are on the cusp of going in a proactive instead of reactive way, a growth potential that is bringing, you know, young professionals back into entering suburbs, and they want to be here. We want you to either, in Pennsauken or Merchantville, I believe, to fly those flags proudly, 125 years. You can put your logo on it, you can talk to Frank about it. On February 18th, we're going to have Dee Bartolos. Did you know he was a former Pennsauken resident?
Yeah.
He's coming, bringing big gold cakes, and we're going to go to the library. Come, get a slice of cake, talk to residents, talk to each other, think about creative ways to get engaged in both Merchantville and Pennsauken. We need you. And then I do want you to mark the calendar for June 10th, because that will be a big birthday bash. Bill Orth is in charge of this, and I'm sure you know, if you know Bill Orth, that it'll be a bash, and it'll be something that you want to be involved in. I also want to just briefly, because I'm very honored and pleased that Mike Rabasco and Scott came to support me today. We have a very strong police force, and they, really keep us safe. So we're honored that our response times are still, second to none in this area. We work closely with Merchantville and EMS and support, calls. In one of my initiatives for Delaware Gardens, people wanted to know how they could confidentially report crime. Well, it's something that we all should know. So I asked, and it's great that the response time of that kind of ask is also very quick and very straightforward and factual. There is an email where you go onto the Pennsauken website for police and pull down the police tab, and you can email confidentially if you see somebody doing something around your business that is not good, and unsafe, or somebody's stealing something from a property. You may not want to get involved, but you should, and you need to come to that website, or you can just dial the hotline, which is 856-488-4444. So simple number, right? 488-4444. Tell people, because we don't want people doing graffiti on a property next door to your property. We don't want people stealing the copper out of a vacant business next to you. We want you to come to know, feel safe in confidentially reporting crime. As we grow our town, we don't want crime to grow as well. Thank you very much, and I really really appreciate your support. Look forward to working with you and Merchantville to grow our region. Thank you.